Mandalorian recap, episode 3 of season 2, chapter 11. It's all confusing. Robbie Fox. By the way, I know people want these. Keep an eye out. There's a special shopping holiday coming up. Might be called Black Friday. Keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out.
We're fighting for it hard.
For now, though, you can get this.
Yep, you get that. You get the popcorn one, which I like, where he's eating the stuff on the couch.
We got Baby Yoda now.
Look at this guy.
Look at this. This is the only reason we got this.
In studio.
Yeah.
Look at the hair.
This, though, we're going to talk about this today. Yes. Major spoilers. I would say more than any of these we've ever done, maybe except for last season's finale. If you haven't watched yet, I don't know why you're watching. Careful. Spoilers, big time. What do we think about Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 3? I've talked to both of you. We've all talked.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
we couldn't help ourselves,
wow.
really.
No.
It was such an amazing episode that we all immediately had to text each other like, oh my God, could you believe it when they said this, when they said that? Like, oh, this is awesome. I texted you, Jeff. I woke up in the middle of the night, like 4 in the morning. And I was honestly like the meme, like one eye open, because I just couldn't fall back to sleep knowing another Mando episode is out there. So I was like, all right, screw it. Got my Baby Yoda cereal and got punched in the face by an 18-punch combination of Dave Filoni, like Clone Wars, Rebels, remember this, remember that? Fucking Mandalorians. You want to see Baby Yoda get eaten? He's getting eaten this episode too. It's like, oh my God, I couldn't handle everything that went on in this episode. It was amazing.
The moment you just mentioned,
honestly, might have been like my favorite episode. I know I just said that with the premiere, but this was so damn good.
I think I would probably say this, which is funny because last one, I didn't love it at all. I didn't despise it. Like there hasn't been an episode like I'm on like because I know you guys last year had a couple where you're like, I didn't really had one that I didn't love. Last week, definitely not my favorite, probably my least favorite. This may just be my favorite. Like that was
unbelievable episode.
That was everything you kind of want.
Incredibly condensed, I would say. Like there was a minute that went by where you were like, oh, well, this is like wasted time. This is wasted line. Everything flies by so quick. They jam packed so much into one episode. And like you said, it's like fucking like an 18-punch combo.
Yeah.
Right. It's like so many different references to stuff that again is like infrared to people that maybe don't know Star Wars that well, but to people like us who are super fans, we fucking love it.
It's that incredible combination of if you love Star Wars, if you're a super fan. By the way, if you have not watched Clone Wars and Rebels, I'm telling you, you don't need to, very clearly. They do a very good job introducing things. It enhances your experience so much with this show. We have a recap on this YouTube channel. I'll throw it up right here. This thing right here recaps all of Clone Wars except for the final season.
Yep.
And then you can watch Rebels. It's all on Disney+. I would dive in. It would help you understand it more. You don't need to know it, but it would, more than anything, help you appreciate more what's happening.
And both of them are standalone great. You don't need to watch them for the sake of watching Mandalorian. You'll enjoy them both individually as well.
Exactly. Lots of new music. Budget clearly on display.
Oh my
very
God.
clearly movie budget on display. I saw a very funny comment in the Star Wars Reddit. They're like, this may not make sense to people, but the extras look like movie extras, not TV extras, which I think
like not low budget costumes.
Yeah, it's so true.
You could always tell in The Walking Dead, like in the back of the horde, there's like a zombie that just has like one scrape of blood. It's like, oh wait, that's just the makeup artist.
All right, so let's get into the breakdown of this episode. Again, a ton happening. There's a great mix of, if you love Star Wars, like I said, you're going to really appreciate Easter eggs. And if you're just a novice, you're just a basic level fan, you're still going to probably love this episode.
Especially for the action.
Oh my God.
So we'll fly through the recap because I think the most important thing today is talking about the new things or people introduced and making sure you, if you're not aware, what these people are, who they are, what they mean. It starts out Razor Crest floating to the planet Trask. We learned last episode. It's a piece of shit now. It got torn apart by a giant spider. Didn't love seeing the spider again in this episode recap from previous.
I skipped it.
Yeah, smart.
On purpose.
Crash lands it does crash land. It crash lands on the planet. We have air traffic control, which I love.
Yeah.
Throwback to when they knocked over the air traffic control tower and Revenge of the Sith. Really fucked up. Killed so many people.
This got a big hearty laugh out of me at 4 in the morning when the ship like slowly breaks and then goes to the side. It reminded me of like a Family Guy joke when Peter's like being really careful going down the stairs and then he just falls down the whole thing.
So crashes into the water, which is it's done for comedy because the Mon Calamari kind of shakes his head. The title of the episode, The Heiress. So I didn't know right away who it would be, but you kind of, if you really had Star Wars brain dialed up, you would have known. Mine was not, and I'll explain why. I had very much 5 a.m. in the morning mind going, because I was whiffing on every prediction during the episode.
Which is almost like even better. You feel like a kid. You're like, I don't know what's coming next.
It was bad, because then I was like, man, that would have been a dumb prediction to say to somebody out loud. Frog Lady, that's still her name, by the way. Frog Lady meets up with Frog Man, her husband or significant other. Sasha Banks, we see in the background, is looking on. I believe that is, I think we can confirm that Sasha Banks' character, who we at the time thought might be Sabine Wren, it is not.
I don't think it is.
It's definitely not.
Okay.
It's not Sabine Wren. Another Star Wars Rebels character, very tied to Clone Wars and Mandalorians. She's off in the distance. Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, is like, hey, like here, I've helped delivered Frog Lady to you, Frog Man. What do I do next? He points Mando to a bar, another bar, a lot of bars in this show.
Yeah,
a chowder bar.
Yeah, chowder bar. Yeah, with like goop tubes.
Crazy. Yeah, that was
that's chowder. Yeah, Quarrens. We'll talk more about the species later on. Mando says to there's Quarrens in there. There's Mon Calamari. Says to the bartender, I'm looking for some help to find Mandalorians. Can you help out? And he gives them the Mandalorian flan, the
Mon Cala flan.
Mon Cala flan, which we saw in the first episode that he took from Grief Karga, Carl Weathers' character, in payment for the initial Horatio Sands character that he abducted. I love the noise that shit makes. It's like gooey and slimy. So he pays for that, and then this Corn comes over who has a very Sam Elliott voice.
I was going to say Sam Elliott.
Was not voiced by Sam Elliott, but a very Sam Elliott voice. Baby Yoda actually attacked by this like squid in the chowder. But that was pretty funny. And he's like, "Don't play with your food."
Yeah,
I love. He just really doesn't give Baby Yoda any benefit of that. He's like, "Stop playing with the food."
He's like, "I know you can kill that."
Yeah. So Sam Elliott Corrin says, "Look, I know where there's Mandalorian. We got to set sail for a few days, or it's a bit of a sail." So they go on this sail barge. You don't see many sailing.
This is straight up Deadliest Catch. Like the intro is like, I'm the Mandalorian, and this is.
Yeah, you sense something's up. They're all brothers. Actually, if you had the subtitles on, they're all Corrin brothers.
Oh, I didn't.
One big family of hatchlings.
Yeah, big family. And he says, come look at this mama core feeding. Like, if you've never seen it.
The kid's gonna love it.
Yeah, kid's gonna love it. It's badass. I got a sense something was gonna happen.
I didn't.
I didn't at all.
Really?
Yeah, this got a full yell out of me in the apartment.
I didn't love how close Baby Yoda was to the edge, and then it turns out they're setting him up. Corn
Cocky kicks it.
Yeah, he shoves Baby Yoda into the middle of it, and this mama core, it's a new creature by the way, comes up and eats Baby Yoda as they dump in like the chum and all that stuff to feed the sea creature. And then of course Mando, being Mando, dives in and the Corrin lock him up. And they're trying to get his Beskar, which is now a very big theme of the episode. Beskar is clearly the most sought after thing in the galaxy.
Definitely.
Because people are willing to kill for this armor.
It's like diamond armor.
So you don't know how he's going to get out. And at that point I was like, is he going to blow up another creature from the inside? But it turns out this is the biggest reveal of the episode. In flies Mandalorians, and if you recognize and you remember the Clone Wars and Rebels, you saw the helmet. That's BO-KATAN.
Yeah.
One of the most important characters that will be introduced. One of the most important characters in Star Wars lore. Basically a main character throughout Clone Wars, especially the last season. We saw a lot in the last season of Clone Wars, which is on Disney+, which coincided with Revenge of the Sith. We saw her in Star Wars Rebels. She arrives with the group, the Night Owls, which we'll get into all this later. We're going to explain all of that later. So Bo-Katan, Night Owls, they save Baby Yoda, and he's like, thank you so much. I've been looking for people like you, like me. And she takes off the helmet, and that right there, he's like, what the fuck is this? Like,
again?
Another one? Like, what's happening here? But this one is real this time. We know it's real, which is kind of funny from our end. We know that she is definitely Mandalorian.
And especially when she takes the helmet off, like, she looks exactly like
they did a great job.
In the cartoon.
That's Katie Sackhoff. They did a really good job. She looks exactly like the Bo-Katan we know, which is weird.
Which I do think they based the cartoon character off her, so it's like a art imitating life, imitating art. Like, it's a weird...
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
weird seeing the animated character come to life like that. She explains, like, what are you freaking out about? This is my armor. A long line. Her line, Clan KRYZE. Again, we'll get to that. Save that for a minute. And they all kind of react to Mando being stunned by them taking off the helmet, and they say, he's one of them.
Yeah.
And what they then go into, and he's like, "What do you mean?"
Like he's Jehovah that just showed up.
Yeah. You're a child of the Watch, they say. The Watch, and Bo-Katan explains, is a cult of religious zealots who look away from Mandalorian society as they try to reestablish the ancient way. And the ancient way we know is what Mando Dinjarin
Warrior
follows.
society.
This is the way. Warriors don't take off the helmet, go in hiding, protect everything at all costs. Again, save all this.
We'll get to it.
If you don't know what that is, we're going to really deep dive and describe it. So again, Mando, despite his kind of recent, I think, development as a character and more acceptance of things, he still doesn't like it. He's kind of pissed off. He's like, I've now struck out. He does not believe they're Mandalorians whatsoever. He says there is only one way, and he blasts off, and he goes back to the dock, back to port, and then you see off in the distance later on in the day, the Night Owls, Bo-Katan, they blow up that vessel, and they fly away. He's going back into town, and he gets cornered by other brothers of the Corran that they all killed earlier, and they're like, you killed my brother, I'm going to kill your pet. And as they're about to do something, in flies Bo-Katan to the Night Owls, and she gives a very John Wick line.
Yeah.
A lot of John Wick going on here.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
And she says, he didn't kill your brother, I did. Very campy, love that. It's like corny, but in like a badass way.
It's old Western style.
Yeah,
and
it's
immediately,
really cool.
they took everyone out in a millisecond.
Flash of an eye.
Yeah, no hesitation, kills all of them. And then she says, let me buy you a drink. Let me explain. Let's talk a little further about. I love how they just kill him in the streets and they're just in the bar next door.
Yeah.
Just go right.
Just blew up a ship in the harbor 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
No problem.
All right, so Bo-Katan, they're getting a drink now. And Bo-Katan is trying to explain, like, look, you may not believe a Mandalorian. We may not have the same beliefs, but I am. She says that they're trying to seize these Mandalorian weapons, which I know these weapons on this planet are being kind of shuttled in and out from Mandalore.
They took them and other goods. The whole planet Trask, or I guess that port of Trask, is just kind of being used as like a ferry point for goods stolen off of Mandalore.
Yeah, so they want to seize the weapons to take back Mandalore, which is under control by what is assumed at this point in the episode, Moff Gideon, who wields this, the Darksaber, and if you wield this, you control Mandalore.
Yep.
You're the ruler of Mandalore. Your Mandalore is kind of the name. The vocabulary and terminology is incredibly confusing, so stick with us on that.
It's George Lucas for you.
He says, like, he's like, no one can live there. The Empire destroyed it when they left, and she's like, don't believe everything you hear.
Yeah, so he's saying, like you don't want to go to Mandalore. Like, no one wants to go to Mandalore. You go to Mandalore and you die. And she, again, implies that there's a little manipulation there, probably by Moff Gideon and the Empire, that they have control of it, and they're basically being duped. Yeah. So we're being duped to keep us apart, and that together Mandalorians are stronger. So this is obviously building up and hinting to something down the road with this type of Mandalorian, the Night Owls, Bo-Katan, and the Armorer, and the other more
Covert
ancient,
and all them.
Yeah, the ones that we saw from the first season. He explains that he has to return Baby Yoda to the Jedi.
Yep.
And she's like, what do you know about the Jedi? He's like, well, fucking nothing, honestly. It's just a word I know. And she says, I know of a Jedi, and I can help take you to one. This is where it was 5 a.m. for me, and I was like, oh, she means Darth Maul, right? And I'm like, I go, he's been dead forever. He's been dead for like 15 years. That's not true at all, because this again takes place about 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So it was too early in the morning for me. And then I was like, oh, it's Ezra. I'm like, no, it's probably not. So yeah, again, I was
the one Jedi we've been teased we're gonna see.
I was way off. It's the most
at
obvious
this point.
reveal.
I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, here we go.
I still didn't fucking get it. Maybe it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I would have known, but. Yeah, I did not realize who she was talking about.
I was the Shaq meme where he's like shimmying his shoulders.
Well, it's also the Leo meme too. A lot of Leo meme.
Yeah.
So she says, "Look, I'll help you find that. Help us raid this ship." And they're kind of going over this whole plan, very like heist plan type thing. They're like, "We got to get in there. We're going to attack the ship because the ship can't." It can't ascend into the atmosphere until it leaves the port.
Shipping regulations. The CATC is very strict.
Yeah. So we have time to attack this ship and take the weapons. He drops off Baby Yoda with the frog people, which is awkward because one of them hatches. I know the internet is very up in arms over Baby Yoda.
You called it really like that morning. You were like Baby Yoda's getting canceled. We laughed about it, but like
there's articles about it.
Furious, and like I get it to an extent, but also just truly don't fucking care.
I don't care.
I'm just sorry. Like if you're watching this and that offends you, I apologize.
I think it's too much of a reach.
I just don't care. No. I just truly
cancel culture. You can't come for Baby.
No,
but what I was offended by is the Mandalorian leaving the baby with the frogs. Like.
You know what he's gonna do.
But it's not even that. It's like, dude, do you not tell her, like, make sure nobody gets in here? Like, it's just, like, so reckless.
He is. He's very reckless.
What if Moff Gideon shows up on that planet right
He's
there?
still pinging. He's still pinging off to the bounty hunters and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And what if they kill Baby Yoda for eating their young?
Moff Gideon's on the planet, walks by. He's like,
oh,
you fucking serious?
I'm just going to take this.
Left him?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, he's not. We'll see him later. So they fight their way onto the ship. Awesome music all episode. But Ludwig Göransson is consistently the winner of every episode.
Oh, yeah.
His score for the Night Owls and BO-KATAN, it's badass, unlike anything we've heard in Star Wars before. He continues to take, I don't want to say risks, because when you're that good, you know your risks are going to pay off. But he puts in new music that we haven't heard in Star Wars, and it fits so well. It works perfectly, because you're seeing these new characters come to life in live action we haven't seen before. It's badass. They fight their way onto the ship. Really cool scene. They're killing stormtroopers left and right. So much stabbing.
a lot of stabbing.
A lot of stabbing.
The wrist knife looks sick. Very Predator type.
Yeah.
Yeah, Imperials are aware that pirates are coming on board. We have a bit of a cameo from an Imperial captain who is like, oh shit, lock down the ship. Pirates are back. So the three Night Owls, including Bo-Katan and Mandalorian, Mando, they fight their way onto the ship. Again, knives, explosive, thermal detonators. He uses thermal vision at one point.
It was cool. It was like a smoke bomb.
Yeah.
And it was so cool how they use the thermal vision to just easily pick them off, and they keep making their way closer and closer to the front of the bridge. And Imperials actually break protocol at one point, and they climb the ship into the atmosphere. And then Mando and the Night Owls take over a cargo bay, but they're locked into a cargo control area, and the Imperial shuts the door. The Imperial officer that shuts the door then radios to the captain, and he's like, we got him, we locked him up. And he's like, where'd you lock him up? In the control bay. And he's like, fuck. And then they vacuum him out into the atmosphere.
That was a great
Very
scene.
alien type.
Yep, seal the bridge, seal where all the weapons are. So they're starting to take all the weapons, and then they're radioed by the captain from the bridge, and they're like, you're just going to take the weapons and jettison them off. And this is where Bo-Katan reveals, no, we're taking the ship over. And
Put some
Mando's
tea
like,
on.
Yeah, he's like, put some tea on. Mando's like, what the fuck? He goes, the plan was to take the weapons, not the ship. And Mando, very reluctant, but Bo-Katan says, I need something. This is the something.
Yep.
She's looking for the Darksaber. At that point, Moff Gideon, who owns this at this point, the Darksaber, is talking to the captain. He's like, I need help. But Moff Gideon's like, you're too far gone. There's no chance that those Mandalorians are on board that we're going to be able to come help and save you. You know what to do. They actually kamikaze the ship. Or they attempt to.
Some crazy shit for Star Wars.
Insane.
Yeah.
And we have not really seen shit like that, especially in live
Not
action.
from Imperials, too.
No,
They're not
yeah.
usually that dedicated.
He's like, the fire burns, brother.
Yeah, it's very Hydra.
Long live the Empire.
Very Marvel, like Hail Hydra type
Very
shit.
Nazi-ish. The
For real.
cyanide pill
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, they even at one point say, Moff Gideon says, long live the Empire, which was, again, that gave me very Hail Hydra vibes.
Yep.
This, so he kills the two Imperials flying the ship, and he does a nosedive for the water. So they're diving down now, and it's a race against the clock, right?
Yeah.
Who can get, what can happen first? Are they going to hit the water, or are they going to breach the front of the ship and take control of it? Mando didn't self-sacrifice. He knows his Beskar is strong as can be. He's like, just cover for me. He takes a ton of bullets and knocks him down a little bit, but he throws some thermal detonators. Great throw.
Yeah.
Great toss. Blows up the front door, kills the stormtroopers. They take over the captain. Luckily, one of the Night Owls and Mando, they're able to level out the ship. The ship levels out.
I thought he was going to have to Sully Sullenberger that thing in the water.
Yeah, almost sullied it. Yeah. So Bo-Katan interrogating the captain now, and she's like, I'll keep you alive, because he implied that he knows that Moff Gideon has this, the Darksaber, because she's looking for this, and he's like, look, if you're asking, you know. You know he fucking has it. So she assumes he has what she needs. How she, lost it is kind of up for question, which we'll get to here in a second. Then he bites down on this like cyanide thing, which looks like the Emperor shocking people, which is badass. It's very Imperial, very Nazi, very Hydra-esque. Again, he dies, ship leveled out, which I know you thought was
sick
pretty
effect
neat.
when it comes up. The jet engine, like ion trail. Like, I don't know what the effect they used for it, but it looks so good.
It's just different, like when they're changing it up. I love that.
By the way, terrible suicide by that captain, giving up the information and then killing yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, just
dude.
bite down
Just
and
bite it down.
But I mean, bite
couldn't
down.
help himself.
He
He's
should have
like-
bit down when he's in the chair. He'd have been harder to remove
Exactly.
out of the chair.
He's like, listen, I'm a villain. I got to get a little monologue out.
complete moron there. And then Bo-Katan asks Din Djarin and Mando to stay. Like, look, you can stay with us. We have to jet off into hyperspace. And he goes, no, I need to go get the child. I need to deliver the child to the Jedi. Please tell me the information. This is the second big reveal. Confirms that the Jedi is Ahsoka Tano, who is at this point the most well-known and important Star Wars character we haven't seen in live action.
Yes.
She is the main character of the Clone Wars series, a big part of the Rebels series, which Clone Wars again takes place obviously during the prequels. Rebels takes place just before A New Hope, and says that she's on Corvus, a planet that we haven't seen actually. You've heard the name before. There's a ship named after it, but we haven't heard this planet. And she says, take the child to Ahsoka Tano and say that Bo-Katan sent you. So Mando goes, he gets Baby Yoda from the frog people, goes and gets his ship. Does not like how his ship was prepared.
No.
Not a fan.
It was pretty funny. The Mon Calamari
0 stars.
What the fuck you want me to do with this? He goes.
He gives him an iPad to like give him a tip.
Yeah, and then he says this quote. He's like, "Mon Calamari, unbelievable." I love that. I love that they're just like that people just can't believe Mon Cal, and he's like these. There he goes. They're ridiculous people.
Yeah.
Says it's gonna be a bumpy ride. There's actually like a sea creature in there.
Little face hugger. Alien face hugger.
Drops
thing.
down. Mando catches it, feeds it to Baby Yoda, and then they jump off into hyperspace, and that's the end of the episode. So yeah, crazy episode. Insane action, really fucking cool. Some music we've never heard before, some kills we've never seen before in Star Wars, some of the stabbing, and again, it's a bananas episode. All right, so getting into Easter eggs, the biggest thing, Bo-Katan.
Yep.
One of the most important characters, like I mentioned, that had not been introduced in live action, played by Katie Sackhoff. Bo-Katan, the Night Owls, and Death Watch. Also Ahsoka, but we're not going to dive too much into Ahsoka Tano. We're going to see her soon. No really point to rehash that later. So we'll really deep dive
enough on the plate.
Yeah, when we see her. Let's get into Bo-Katan first. Bo-Katan Kryze is the sister of the ruler of Mandalore during much of the Clone Wars series, Satine Kryze, Duchess Satine.
The Duchess, yeah.
Who is the implied lover.
Implied.
I'm gonna just say lover of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan said he'd leave the order for her. You think he didn't get a sniff?
Yeah. He also went down to Mandalore, like, dressed as a Mandalorian to save her in a very Luke Skywalker saving Princess Leia fashion.
A little too simpish to say he's the implied lover. But he is
He's heavily associated, let's say.
I said he would have left the order. Bo-Katan does not agree with the way her sister rules Mandalore. It's much more peaceful, much more working with the Republic and with more of the galaxy as opposed to the Mandalorians kind of being their own thing. So she splits off with Pre Vizsla. Pre Vizsla, voiced by Jon Favreau, not important but kind of a fun Easter egg to know, is the descendant of the creator Tar Vizsla, who created this right here, the Darksaber.
Former Jedi.
Yeah, the Darksaber is kind of the thing that rules, again, like we said, Mandalore. So Bo-Katan, Pre Vizsla split. They create something called Death Watch. Death Watch is basically a terrorist organization that's trying to win back Mandalore. And they team up with Darth Maul. And they team up with Darth Maul, and they work throughout the Clone Wars series to take back Mandalore. When they're about to take back Mandalore, there's a bit of double crossing going on. Pre Vizsla kind of doesn't want Darth Maul anymore, and Darth Maul is like, well, fuck you. I don't need you whatsoever. I can rule Mandalore. And ends up killing him with the Darksaber. And at that point, Bo-Katan's like, well, what the fuck? Like, I don't want a non-Mandalorian ruler of Mandalore. The whole point of this was that we were supposed to take over Mandalore. So now Death Watch splits. You have the Mandalorians who follow Darth Maul. We'll call them MAUL-DALORIANs.
Yep.
They follow Darth Maul. And then you have Bo-Katan, the Night Owls. They're trying to win back Mandalore their way and rule Mandalore with Mandalorian rule as opposed to Darth Maul. And then we also learned this episode, which has kind of been implied, there are other Mandalorians who are not under Maul but not under Night Owls who want to go back to a more ancient way. That is the Watch. That's the people who saved Din Djarin and saved Mando. They likely save Mando right around the time of Revenge of the Sith, kind of in between where Bo-Katan split and Darth Maul ruled Mandalore and when Revenge of the Sith happened. That's right around when it's implied they're saved because we see droids and all that. So there's 3 splits of Death Watch. The ones who like Darth Maul, Bo-Katan and the Night Owls, who we see this episode, and then the ones who saved Mando, and those are the people that he follows. So that's his belief system, the ancient way.
The religious zealot parts.
Right, yeah, the very old school way. Very fucking olds, man.
Cultish.
Yeah, cultish, yeah. Like she said, the children of the Watch. So in Clone Wars, Bo-Katan teams up with Ahsoka. That's how she knows Ahsoka Tano, and we see at the end of the Clone Wars series that she essentially wins back Mandalore through the Civil War.
Yeah.
Kind of, because we do know that the clones that help them win back Mandalore will eventually turn into Imperials, so that's not very helpful.
The Imperials take it back.
And then a big jump in time, we actually see in Rebels, she gets back the Darksaber.
Yeah.
She does get back the Darksaber. So last time we saw Bo-Katan, things had gone at least better for her with Mandalore. She was more in power, and she had the Darksaber.
She was the last person we saw with it before the Mandalorian.
With it. So something happens between that and now, where she loses this Darksaber, probably in the Great Purge, which was teased by Moff Gideon in the previous season. So again, that's where we stand. Bo-Katan, sister of a former ruler of Mandalore, double-crossing, things happened. She lost control, joined a terrorist organization with Darth Maul, and then got double-crossed again, and then tried to win back Mandalore and got this weapon. So that's what we know about Bo-Katan. That's very, very, very condensed. That's super fucking condensed. If you want a larger description and explanation of what happens with her, again, watch our recap of the Clone Wars, or just watch Clone Wars.
The best arc to like have an introduction to her is it's season 5, episode 14, 15, 16. That's the best. Like that's the initial Death Watch taking over and Darth Maul and the betrayal and all that. Watch those episodes if you want like a quick introduction.
That, and also I would say the Rebels arc. At the end of Rebels, basically what you're going to get with Bo-Katan is she gets the Darksaber and she unites the clans, including Sabine Wren's clan, Clan Wren, and a bunch of other ones, and she's in possession of the Darksaber. Darksaber means you're the Mandalore, which is you're in charge of all Mandalorians. But it was somewhere, like you said, between there and then, Gideon gets control of the Darksaber.
Yeah, so where we left off there, Sabine Wren, another Mandalorian who we expect to see here, was actually with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So now where we stand, again, they were at peace when we last saw them in the show Rebels, which takes place right before A New Hope. This is now after Return of the Jedi. She lost this. Bo-Katan doesn't have this.
Yeah.
I assume Sabine is probably with Ahsoka still. That would kind of make sense. Like, I would imagine there's some relation there.
Or what if she was killed by Moff Gideon?
Maybe she was killed. That'd be really tragic. But we have heard rumors that she's in the show.
It would be interesting because she has like what's very unique Mandalorian armor because she paints it. She is the only Mandalorian that paints
like
her armor very
paint.
Yeah, she's like a spray paint artist basically. So it'll be very interesting if we get to see her.
She tags things.
Mando will not like that.
Oh my god, that would be like he's showing up at Augusta wearing like sweatpants.
It's like you're painting your fucking armor. What is this? This is insane. So again, that was very condensed. We actually recorded this like 100 fucking times because it's very hard to condense who Bo-Katan is, but that's hopefully a little explainer. Really, in short, she's an incredibly integral part of the history of Mandalore, even more than Din Djarin, than Mando. Mando is a blip on the radar compared to how important Bo-Katan is and the people she's worked with over the years in connection with the Darksaber. I mean, he still has no fucking idea what this is.
Yeah. I mean, Bo-Katan is like one degree of separation from Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like, we're talking that close, so yeah.
So other Easter eggs, very less important. Again, I'll remind you one last time, if you want more on Bo-Katan, either watch Clone Wars and Rebels or we did a recap video of what happened in Clone Wars. You can click it. It's Lights Camera Pod here on YouTube. You can find it, or we've posted it here a bunch in this video up top. If you're on our website, we'll link it below. We'll link it below. We saw some species, Mon Calamari species. Seen those plenty of times.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the Admiral Akbar species.
They're the good fish species.
You couldn't tell. Yeah. Very funny.
And corn are the bad fish species.
They're very clearly a comedic relief species.
Yes.
People don't take them very seriously.
Yeah, I was expecting at some point for Mando to like get into the cockpit at the end and be like, "Oh, this thing's a trap."
It smells like
something
shit.
Yeah.
We see Quarren, this kind of squid species.
Always bad guys.
Always bad.
Always.
Never good. What a terrible
You can't
species.
trust these guys. They're like Davy Jones, I guess, from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Repurposed Imperial vehicles a couple times. Yep. The AT-AT Walker, the AT-AT, it was a crane.
Yeah.
Repurposed to a crane. And then you noticed the sail barge, you're pretty confident, is an Imperial
shuttle. Yeah. It looked a lot like an Imperial shuttle. The two jet engines on the back looked like the two jet engines on the back of an Imperial shuttle, and the fin in the front of it looked like a repurposed, I don't know what you call it, the dorsal fin, the top fin on the Imperial
I think
shutter.
someone on the Star Wars Reddit said that it was from Star Wars Rebels as well.
I could also see
so
that
it might
too.
have been like literally that, but it might have first appeared in Rebels.
Again, love the repurposing of old things. Instead of creating new, just why not? Like the galaxy's in disarray. There's no really good or bad. Like you can just kill people in the street and go get a drink. Nobody cares. There's another Imperial vehicle that we've seen before, a Gazanti class cruiser, which if you're all up on your Star Wars, we saw that in the last season of Clone Wars. There were two sisters who that's the ship that they were working on. We saw it in the Phantom Menace. It's been all over the map, but this is the first real live action, great look we've had at it. The last time we saw it, it was right before Jar Jar Binks stepped in shit.
Yep. The frame before.
This is a much more crowning moment for the Gazanti class cruiser. A very funny Boba Fett Mandalorian reference. A throwback to Lando talking to Boba Fett, talking about you're always changing the terms of the deal. That's what Mando says to Bo-Katan. And I actually thought like she was gonna say what Darth Vader said.
Pray I don't alter it further.
Yeah, I thought like pray I don't do it, but she's like, this is the way, which I kind of love. Like
I liked it. Yeah, there's a little nod to it.
Okay, like I'll use your shit on me now. Stormtroopers having bad aim. They referenced that. They said the stormtroopers on this Gazanti-class cruiser couldn't hit the side of a bantha. That Bill Burr's character kind of talked about that a little bit.
Funny. It's like saying a baseball player couldn't hit a beach ball.
Yeah, it's they're playing up even more. The stormtroopers completely suck. A couple cameos. We saw Sasha Banks' character credited as Mercedes Varnado. I didn't know that. I'm not a wrestling fan.
Yep.
What'd you think? What'd you think of old Sasha Banks?
I thought she was fine. You know what? When she was rumored as
Casca Reeves is the character. She did not play Sabine Wren. That was the rumor.
She was rumored as Sabine Wren, and I was a little skeptical of that because she's had some backstage segments where her acting has been on display, and it has been so-so. And I'm like, are they giving her this massive role that like Star Wars
Just
fans
no
are going to
lines.
like put her under a microscope for? But I think her role in this was perfect. She had like 1 or 2 lines. Her action was great.
Gun
Like,
kata, it looks sick.
all of the action scenes she had made it look like she was like a true Mandalorian, like a warrior.
Again, so the thing is, we don't know who plays Sabine if she even shows up at all now, which that
Yeah.
could be a surprise. Titus Welliver, who it depends what you recognize him from. Lost is a big one.
Man in Black.
Deadwood, yeah.
Bosch, baby.
Bosch, the
Hell yeah,
Amazon
the most dudes
series.
rock show ever.
The Town is what comes to mind
Yeah.
for me. He was friends with like the Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner crew, and then turned into a cop or an FBI agent. So you'll recognize from a lot. Very funny to see him as an Imperial officer.
Very bad guy face.
He was really good, yeah.
Simon Cassianidis plays Axe Woves. That's another one of the That's the male Night Owl, who you said kind of looked like a character from Clone Wars
He
and
looked
Rebels.
like he could be Tristan Wren. Possibly the age lines up. The fact that he knows Imperial technology. He was the one that hacked into the ship, and it would all work out.
It could be an Easter egg, but his name is Axis Woves, so it would
Now be
have to
Satine's
be
brother then in this case.
would have to be a name change. But yeah, potential Easter egg there. And this was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. We literally just talked to
Ron Howard,
and we were like, "Did you know anything?" And he's like, "No, she
She won't tell me shit.
So we actually did. Yeah, it's funny that the episode just aired.
Bryce, you had to tell Ron.
Gotta
Come
tell
on,
Ron.
Ron had to be lying to you guys.
Big Ron.
Quickly, some questions here. J_McDougs, I love this question, said, do you think they use Bo-Katan to loosen up Mando, meaning remove his helmet? I do think, I think Pedro Pascal becomes a more of an on-screen face. I think eventually he starts removing the helmet.
Yeah.
I think he buys into the new
I mean,
way.
it would make sense. Like, you can't have that guy forever. You could only do so much with character development under a hood.
She's gonna bond, or rather, Mando's gonna bond, I think, with Ahsoka Tano at some point, and that's gonna be involved with like him rebonding with Baby Yoda, and then that I think is gonna end up coming in clash with, I guess, the Watchers, or was it the Watch, right? They're gonna have to end up being in a clash, and I think that's gonna end up with him rejecting his homegrown culture and then having to remove his helmet.
I mean, Ahsoka reacting and being like, "Holy fucking shit, it's Yoda!"
Yeah.
like she'd be like, "Are you?" Prediction. Now I'll say prediction for thoughts on next episode.
All right.
Someone also a bunch of mentions about the Creed, like how lame is Mando? Like,
Yeah.
that's so what
Lame.
a narc.
Yeah, it is.
Put your helmet on.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah,
BYU
yeah.
student or something.
Jeez, dude. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
fucking loser. Not BYU students. No, Mando loser.
Yes.
No,
They're all right.
It's not. Yeah, I'm not combining those. JRKI.
Likes to soak.
JRX is bad, said the theory that the armor is a MAUL-DALORIan looks pretty good right now. We saw in the last season that the armor had these horns, and we mentioned, like, that looks very Darth Maul-esque. And then we saw in the last season of Clone Wars that the Mandalorians that were under the rule of Darth Maul had the horns.
Yep.
So that, again, kind of leads to the idea that the split of Death Watch, a lot of them were the Watch, and maybe some of them could have been under the rule of Darth Maul, and they still referenced that like lineage, that history. That theory is a really good theory.
Yeah.
That seems to line up now.
My only complaint with that is just that a lot of the MAUL-DALORIANs, I think, maybe even rejected that sort of culture, only because Maul wasn't about that at all. Maul invited crime syndicates into Mandalore. He
So it may
turned
not
into like a black market haven. So I don't think that she would be part of that.
It may not work, but it at least gives it a little more life. Like it kind of.
I would like to see Maul in some flashbacks.
I just
That'd
realized
be
every
cool.
time I do this, I'm just sitting behind Baby Yoda. Yeah, I could Maul
Sam Witwer.
flashbacks.
Get back in here.
Maul flashbacks could happen. And then your note that you told me this morning, I love, which will lead into thoughts on next episode. Probably won't see much of Ahsoka next episode. Will probably be like the cliffhanger because Carl Weathers directs it.
I believe so, yes.
And then Dave Filoni, who is Ahsoka. Dave Filoni, like that's the creation of the character.
That's his baby Yoda.
That's his baby. Like that.
Yeah.
Ahsoka is his character. he directs the episode after this next one, episode 5.
Yes.
So that would make sense that is the Ahsoka
I think
episode.
next episode we're somehow going to meet up with Carl Weathers, Grief Karga, and Gina Carano. What's her name? Cara Dune on Navarro 7, maybe to repair the ship before he goes to meet Ahsoka.
I can see that, yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, I don't think we'll get Ahsoka. If we do, I think it'll be like we see her from behind and then it's like, dun-dun, next episode.
Yeah, I like that theory a lot, that he's going to meet up with them again. Makes sense that he would direct an episode he's into.
Yeah.
And then they go find. Prediction, I think we're going to get Yoda.
Yoda?
We've seen Ahsoka talk to Yoda.
Yeah.
We've seen Ahsoka talk to Yoda in Rebels through, like...
Force meditation.
Oh, shit.
That's where, like, Qui-Gon, like the ability to, like, talk after death. I imagine we're gonna get Yoda. That's a prediction. I think we're gonna get Yoda in The Mandalorian.
Maybe we get Sabine, and Sabine leads Mando and Baby Yoda to Ahsoka, and that's the end of the episode.
So that's my thought too. I think we do see Sabine. If we see Sabine, I think it's next episode. Like, I'll take you to.
He's gonna fucking hate that armor
He's gonna hate her so much.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, "Fuck all of you." What the fuck?
Maybe they'll like Zack Snyder up her armor and just make it all dim. You know,
it's like a family that raises their kids and tells them like vegetables or desserts.
Yeah,
and then they go off to college and they're like, "The fuck?
Yeah,
there's so much better shit out there." Yeah. He's gonna be furious. I don't know. This was an amazing episode. There's not a complaint. My only thing, I hope we don't get I think we see Yoda. I hope we don't divert too much into like just rehashing old Star Wars things. But again, it's another episode where we bring in shit we know, we bring in storylines we're aware of, but it's so much new stuff and things we haven't seen and action and again just like fun. It's just like fun. Like we're enjoying how this all plays out. I think we keep staying the course like this. We're going to continue to love these episodes because I had a fucking blast.
This one episode felt like it was like the glue that put so many different things together where this show is now interconnected in so many different ways. It's like, oh, BO-KATAN wants to be the leader of Mandalore. She wants the Darksaber. Moff Gideon's after Baby Yoda. We got to get Baby Yoda to Ahsoka. Like there's so many different components now where there's just so many possibilities. I'm very excited about the future.
It's very, very condensed into, I think, like moving along the main plot while also giving us our own side adventure while, introducing a new character like BO-KATAN, which, again, she is a huge character in the Star Wars universe. Like, there's so much shit happened in this episode, and all of it happened flawlessly without missing a beat. Great
episode. A lot of fun. Make sure if you're on YouTube, again, check out the Clone Wars recap if you want to know a little more about BO-KATAN, but also just watch. Watch Clone Wars. You got a week before the next episode. If you're dying for the next episode and you haven't seen Clone Wars,
great show.
Binge some Clone Wars.
Catch up on some BO-KATAN stories.
Yeah, you'll really appreciate. You don't need it, but man, you will appreciate it so much more. And there's going to be some reveals that'll, if you catch up in time, that might spark your interest a bit there. Remember, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, and hit the subscribe button as well. That way, when these drop, we're trying to get them out earlier because I know people they want the breakdowns. This is a very important breakdown episode as well. That's it though. 1 week. Oh man, it makes the wait so much better. Like all week, you're just like, I'm waiting for Friday.
You know what's great though? We could rewatch this episode without having to see any spiders.
Yes. This will be an immediate rewatch for me tonight. I can't wait to rewatch this because we take notes when we watch, and I will note too. While the reveal was awesome, when you see the helmet, the Night Owl helmet, and you're like, oh shit, it's Bo-Katan. I do kind of wish we wouldn't known that she was in this season. I kind of hope next season, like,
keep it more under wraps.
Come on, do you need to break the story wide that these characters are in it? Do we need to know?
I wish they didn't.
We and don't get me wrong, we tweeted out the news too, but like once it goes out,
once it goes out, I'll get excited about it. But I wish it didn't go out.
Yeah, I really wish it would have been out there.
The second she took her helmet off, it would have been unfucking believable.
Yeah,
that moment would be insane.
That's it for Robbie and KenJac. I'm Jeff Lowe. Mandalorian episode 4 recap next week.